So I was looking for, usually I'd buy my friends a case of beer and, or a bottle of, wild turkey or something. And so I went to the liquor store to get a case of turkey. I was like kind of broke at the time. And so I was like, that's too much. And so I thought, well, I'll just go make some habanero vodka and just get some cheap vodka, throw in some habaneros from my stepdad's farm, and which I did. And this stuff was like liquid lava. It was like so hot. And so I just wrote Merry Christmas from Tito on the label, gave it to my friends, and told them just use it like Tabasco sauce for Bloody Marys. Just make a regular Bloody Mary with whatever vodka, and then just put just a thimbleful of this stuff to heat it up. And so that was the plan. But my buddy that had been down at the Watermelon Thump with me at Uncle Phil's was like, that's not how you do it. What you do is you take this stuff, you put it in the freezer, and you do shots. And so somebody's friend would come over to their house, from New Hampshire or something, and they'd go, hey, you want a shot of my buddy Tito's vodka? Like, yeah, sure, I'll do a shot. And then they'd go get a shot, and it'd go down nice and cold, and all of a sudden be like, what is that stuff? What was it? Like, man, my ears just opened up. It's been clogged up for 3 weeks. It just opened up. So then the next year, a friend of mine's girlfriend was like, man, you're not going to do that hot stuff again, are you? Ended up going to Whole Foods and buying organic raspberries and black cherries. And I did that year, and everybody loved it. I went to a keg party, I'm pumping on the keg, and this guy comes up and he goes, you're the vodka guy. And I'm like pumping on a keg, and I'm like, contraire, my friend, I am the mortgage guy. And it's like, no, you're the guy that does the flavored vodkas, right? He's like, yeah, man, I tried your habanero, I tried your black cherry, I tried your orange. It's like, man, you got to sell those things. And so I started thinking, man, I should go and do this. I made flavored vodkas. I took them down to a liquor store, and the guy chased me out and put them back in my trooper, and I came back in. He's like, you can't bring liquor in a liquor store. I'm like, how else do you get it in here? And he's like, no, man, there's all these, the 3-tier system. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, man, there's like the feds, and then there's the state regular, the ATF, and then there's the TABCs. You got the distributors, suppliers and distributors and retailers. Here in Texas, the retail liquor stores sell to the bars, so it's really a 4-tier system. And I'm like, what? And I'd researched the liquor business on CD-ROMs in the science library, pre-internet, and I'd seen these little distilleries, Booker's and Baker's and Knob Creek, and I thought they were little bourbon distilleries. I was going to do a little vodka distillery. And he's like, but come over and look at this. And he shows me the vodka section, and there's 86 vodkas. And he's like, did you have a lot of money behind you? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, these are all multi-billion-dollar corporations that own all these brands, and they have the distributors right where they want them. You won't get distribution. You're out of luck. And then I went down to the Institute of Texan Cultures, and they had to see if there'd been a distillery before, and there hadn't. But in my research, I found pictures of Texas Rangers that were smashing moonshine stills. So I just looked at the pictures of 6, 7 moonshine stills and built one kind of in the middle. Got a copper condensing coil from Home Depot, and got a little catfish frying rig from Academy Sports and Outdoors, and a little propane rig. I started brewing in 6.5-gallon carboys, and then bought every vodka I could get my hands on. I put them in cur jars and numbered them, and had my friends come over, and we blind tasted them. So my idea was just make it really smooth. If I could get somebody to just take a hot sip and they said smooth, then I was like, had a fighting chance. And I had gone to the TABC, and they told me I couldn't do it. And then I said, why? I said, because of the regs. And so I got a copy of the regs. And so I read all the regs, and I came back and said, there's nothing saying you can't have a distillery in Texas. I'm like, I read all the regs. They're like, you read the regs? I'm like, yeah, have you read the regs? And the guy's like, no, man, nobody reads the regs. Except maybe legal. And it's like, bump me up to legal. Yeah. Then once I got all my permits and stuff, I tried to raise money again. Nobody put it in again. And then I kept trying to raise money for 5 or 6 years, and everybody's like, this guy's a knucklehead. And then I stuck it in a stock bottle because I couldn't afford fancy see-through, frosted, painted bottles. The label I did myself. The pot still I did on Corel Draw. the Tito's Handmaids Lucida Calligraphy Bold Italic. I thought it looked fancy, you know. It ended up, I was at my first like big convention, liquor convention, and this guy comes up and goes, "What gave you the idea?" I'm like, "Man, these little distilleries in Kentucky, Booker's, you know, Knob Creek, Baker's," and he starts laughing. And I'm like, "What's so funny?" He goes, "Those are my babies." I'm like, "You run those little distilleries?" He laughs and he's like, "That's all Jim Beam, man." I go, "What do you mean?" It's like, "This one's Jim Beam, that we take 25 barrels of Jim Beam, we put it together and we bottle it. This one's Jim Beam, we take a single cask of Jim Beam, we bottle it. This one's Jim Beam, we take Jim Beam, put it in a sherry cask, bottle it." It's like, "It's just Jim Beam, man." I'm like, "Who are all the little distilleries?" She's like, "I've been doing this 34 years, man. You're the only guy I've ever heard of." And it ended up, I started the American craft spirits movement because I'm such a dumbass. I thought I was following these guys over there, but those guys were just Jim Beam. They weren't little distilleries.